Hey guys, I'm Ray,
And I'm Danny.
and this is Rayel, who is being difficult right now. She wants to play, so we're gonna play in between. But we're excited today because what are we talking about today, Danny?
We're going to talk about what we spent on our wedding.
Yeah, that was something.
It was like we didn't really create a budget. It just
We kinda did.
started happening.
We kind of did. We created a budget. Like we had a roundabout number of what we wanted. It wasn't too narrowed down, but it was enough to say, all right, we don't want to go above this amount, right?
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
So I went through our like the different breakdowns we had, like from the venue, and why are you on your phone?
I'm actually getting my numbers together for what we spent.
Let's
For what
not
I
do
spent.
that. Let's do it off our heads.
Okay, go ahead.
So we had our wedding at a beautiful golf course. I just don't really like when you look down.
Why are
like
you
that.
worried about me?
You
Focus
did
on
that
what you're
the last
doing.
time too.
I have a method for that. I'm an editor. I know what I'm doing. Just go ahead and talk.
Bruh.
So we had our wedding at a golf course, and so there was a lot of things that was included within the price. So not only, of course, we had the venue that came with the ballroom, and it also came with a bridal suite, a groom suite. We had an area for appetizers, and we got married actually on the golf course. So that was actually an additional fee too for the on-site wedding cost. And then it came with like any color linen you wanted was provided. We got a custom cake from this place called Pomero's, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Pomero's.
I mean, the cake was absolutely amazing.
Delicious.
Yeah, it tastes good, and it looked like something out of the movies. So the cake was included. I mean, the cake was included. And then we were able to have a what is it? A 3-course meal.
Yep.
And then we chose like steak, salmon, and chicken, and that came with sides. And
we had a nice, before that we had a nice appetizer station where we did Chinese takeout. Another one was,
I think we did pasta.
And I don't know if it was Italian. It was something else. It was like either
I feel like it was like shrimp or something.
It could have been seafood.
Like a seafood station, and then they had like an array of the antipasta, which like cheeses and all the different types of cold stuff.
Another great element was the valet. That was pretty cool. How people were able to drive up, and people took their cars. It just felt very prestigious. I felt like we were not just celebrities, but I felt like we was like royalty.
Right.
I'm like, they pulled out the red carpet, all the stops for us. The entire staff was amazing.
And it had white glove service.
Yeah, beautiful white glove service for sure.
And then also we had, so I thought that I was going to need a an event manager for the day of the event, but it came, our package came with an event planner for the day of.
I think they call it a maitre d'.
Well, we had an event manager and then a maitre d'.
Right.
A maitre d', she handled the reception, and the event manager handled basically putting everything else together. And then also
I actually want to name drop her because she was amazing. And if you
Maria,
if you go to the Galloping Hill Golf Course, please book Maria. Signed to you by Raymond Wyatt Jr. and Danielle Wyatt.
We invited 100 guests. Did 100 guests show up?
No.
But we paid for all of them.
All of them.
So
we're gonna get into that a little bit later. I ain't gonna hold up the conversation with that, but yeah, we got something to say on that.
But yeah, so we paid for 100 guests. That did include us in our wedding party, along with Yeah, our wedding party, our parents, everyone. Yeah. And so we were able to get
except for the vendors. The vendors were not included.
Yeah, they were a separate charge.
Yeah.
So the per person was $96. And when I tell you that was so cheap compared to like the $200 and $300 per person quotes we got from other places, this was like amazing.
Stellar.
So $96 per person. And that really was just like how much the food costs. So it was $96 a person. So that came to a total of $9,696 just for food. Whew. And then
it's expensive belly.
Right. And then children were $45. We only had like maybe 4 children at our wedding. Mm-hmm. And then the vendors were also $45 as well. Mm-hmm. And the vendors that we had to pay for was our DJ. We had a 360 booth, and we had a dancer,
a harpist.
Well, we didn't pay for her because she was only at the ceremony.
Okay, yeah.
And so those were all the vendors that we paid for. And then because we got married on the golf course, they had the chairs laid out and what is it? Like a proscenium. I can't think of it. The arch and everything. Yeah. So to have it on the golf course was an additional $1,000. And then, so of course the place came with chairs, but my sister-in-law, who was our decorator, she did not like the chairs. And she said, you're going to get different chairs. And I was like, look, I cannot afford to pay anything else.
We already paid out so much already. And she said,
don't worry about it. It's handled. You're getting the chairs.
Shout out to Big Sis Rain.
Yeah. So she made sure that our chairs were covered we got the Chiavari chairs, which had the gold backing. And then we got to choose the seat cushions color. And so that was $858 just for the chairs for the reception. And then of course everything has a sales tax, state tax, administrative fee, gratuity.
Just because tax?
Yeah, just because tax. So it came to a whopping $15,022.81 for our venue. Jeez. So that was not decorations, that was not vendors, that was food, the chairs, because the place had a contractor, so we paid the venue for the chairs, and then they had it delivered there. So the food, the golf course fee to have our wedding outside, and the chairs, we paid $15,000 for the venue.
Yeah.
But I mean, it came with so much. We had valet parking.
Yeah, it was definitely scary.
I think it was worth it.
It was definitely worth it for sure.
But then our other costs came in. So we had to pay for our DJ. Mm-hmm. And the DJ was $750. And he had such a nice presentation with the booth. He had this big TV screen with our names, and
you can't forget about the music, because the music was amazing.
Yeah, the music is what makes a wedding.
He had me dancing all night. I was on the dance floor just
all night,
enjoying myself. I can't get off the dance floor sometimes.
He even pulled the shirt off on the dance floor.
Oh, you tell him my business.
I mean, shoot, it's in the pictures. But so the DJ was $750. I think like a week before the wedding, I wanted a fog machine. So the DJ provided a fog machine. So that was an additional $100.
He provided the fog machine and the price.
It was an additional $100. And then I did not know that. I thought the venue provided a sound system outside for the ceremony. And I found out like 2 days before that they did not. Mm-hmm. So I had to ask the DJ for a sound system for the ceremony. So I believe that was an additional $100 too. So we ended up paying him like $950,
around almost $1,000.
But he was so professional.
Amazing.
He came like 5 hours before the wedding. He set everything up. He had the music for our he had the music also for our cocktail hour. We requested like French Parisian music because that was the theme of our wedding. Mm-hmm. And then he also came with a MC.
She was cool.
Yeah, so he definitely, did a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, what were your expenses? You did you paid for you booked the harpist.
I had to book my job, and I admonish all fellas, if you are getting married, to definitely be a part of the process. My job was to book the harpist. I definitely helped out with the wedding too, but book the harpist and the singer, that was my main focus on my own. And what I had to make sure of was that the harpist was booked. She knew where the place was, so I kept in contact with her every couple months. Like, I just wanted to keep her updated, let her know, because I had booked her, I think, like months before the wedding, maybe five months before the wedding or so. And I had spoke with her, just on and offline, kind of just checking to see what was going on, text. We used a website called gigsalad.com. I recommend it to any and everyone. It gives you recommendations for violinists, any string instruments, a band. It really doesn't matter. They give you videos so you can kind of get a feel for what they do and how they sound and the look that you're going for, the sound that you're going for. And the harpist that I chose was fantastic. She really did her thing. She flowed with the entire ceremony. Alexis Moraz sung at the wedding, so I was just excited to have her too. I had to book her as well.
And we actually flew Alexis out, so that
flew out.
So that was an additional cost. So we paid for her to sing, and we had to pay for her to get there as well.
Right. So it was about, I want to say.
Well, you know what? Let's keep
everything all together.
Yeah.
Like for me, everything came out to about, I would say a little over 1,000, around there, maybe 1,200. Yeah. It was pretty cool flying somebody out too. It's the first time I ever did it. So booking the flight information, making sure the name was correct. I was freaking out because I'm like, I don't want her to get to the airport and there's a problem. So my biggest thing was making sure that everything was correct to the T. And when it came time for the wedding, I was just like, wow, we did this. Like, we planned way in advance. We didn't wait for anything, because let me tell you something. You could be late to a birthday party. You could poorly plan a sweet 16, maybe not a sweet 16, but you could poorly plan stuff. But your wedding, man, if you don't have your ducks in a row for a wedding, you set yourself up for disaster.
Yeah.
Plan ahead, please. Please have everything done at least 5 months before. I know 6 months is sometimes a stretch for people, but one thing we did too was we made sure we planned for this. Like, we set aside money specifically for the wedding. Like, of course, you got to dip in where you can, but we were blessed to even come back home to an apartment and not have to worry about rent.
Yeah.
We were good,
So another vendor we had a caricature artist, like draw the animated pictures.
Oh man.
And we hired him for 2 hours, and he was $75 an hour. And I was gonna have him longer, but my sister-in-law surprised us with the 360 booth.
Right.
So she was like, "Oh yeah, I already got the booth handled." I was like, "Okay."
We had an eventful wedding.
So not only did people go home with the drawing. Ooh, I actually want to show the drawing.
Check that camera too. It's still recording, but I just want to make sure it still say record. Beautiful. Man, so, I really love this drawing.
This is the caricature drawing that they did at our wedding. And what he did was he had it set up where he could just take a picture of you, and then you could just sit down and then come back and get it. So yeah, he was awesome. His name is Phil, and I found him online. I can't remember the exact website, but he was great.
This is another topic, dress wear, our groomsmen and the bridal party.
Yeah.
I really feel like my groomsmen had a great deal. Like, there could have been no better deal than what we got. I went out to New York and I looked at a bunch of places. Everywhere was expensive. Now, I got for my suit, I'm like, I know my suit's already going to cost from about $800 to $1,000. I already know that because I wear suits, so I know exactly how it works.
Custom
suits. Fits to your body, shapes to you nicely, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a double breast custom suit, and I wanted it tan, but I was okay with black because I felt like black was still in the classy look that I was going for. And I was looking around, couldn't really find anything in New York, and I found one spot. It's called Robbie and Company. When I tell you, these guys are pristine. Really nice shop, built it from the ground up. He has a lot of celebrities that come in throughout there. Robbie takes pictures with them. He's an amazing guy. And my groomsmen suits were just $250, somewhere around that price range. And to rent the suits out for that much is a beautiful rent, because I'm like, I know my guys don't want to keep these suits. They don't have to keep them. I don't want to lock them into a price to where they have to stay stuck to it. Right. Because really, my suit was $800. And I'm like, but I mean, I knew what it was, but the deal that I got from my suit allowed everybody else's suit to be cheaper, which was a great deal. You know, my brother got a suit, my brother-in-law, and my best friend. And I feel like just the way that the wedding was set up, it was just so beautiful to see the colors just accent each other. Like, you know, the dress that the girls had, and you can take that over for the girls, but they dressed so beautiful.
And so our colors were, we had mentioned in other videos, baby blue. That was the main color. And then with accents of like navy blue, gold, white, stuff like that. So my bridal dresses I got from David's Bridal. And what I did was, in David's Bridal, they had a specific line of dresses. So I told the ladies, I'm like, okay, so this specific designer, this is the designer I want to use. They had like a plethora of different designs. I'm like, you pick what's most comfortable for your body. And then I gave them the color, you know, the shade of the dress. And so from there, I let them choose it themselves. All my bridesmaids were in different states. So it wasn't like we could just all go together. I was only able to do that with my maid of honor because she lived in Jersey as well. So we went to David's Bridal together and she tried on her dress. But everyone else, I was like, I didn't care the design as long as it was the same color. And I wanted everyone to feel comfortable with themselves, because everyone, you know, if you pick one style, everyone may not be comfortable with it. Right. So everyone was able to get the dress they wanted. I can say David Bridal did give us a little bit of issues as far as like, when the dresses were delivered, if you didn't pick it up within a certain amount of time, then they would ship it back. But the bad part was they didn't tell us when the dresses were there. So I'm just like, hey, like, guys, can you call and check? And they're like, oh yeah, it's been here. But other than that, the dresses turned out beautiful. And I think the ladies paid like maybe $150, nice. Maybe $125, $150. It wasn't no more than that. My dress I got from this place called Sin Couture, and my sister-in-law had told me to check it out. That's where she got her dress. And I went in there and I was already behind the ball. So our wedding was in May. I got my dress in October, and they told me I was already behind because they said it was going to take 5 months for the dress to ship. So I went in there and I picked the dress that day. And literally the first dress I tried on was the dress that I had fell in love with.
And boy, did I love it.
Yeah. So my mother, she said, you know, you pick whatever dress you want and I'll get it. And so I really do appreciate that. She, I think the dress was maybe like $1,300 to $1,500. But then things started adding on, of course, because I had to get alterations, and then I added on like a diamond embedded thing around my train. So my mom probably paid about $2,200 for the dress. Oh, you know what? No, she brought a veil too. So I don't know, probably about $2,500, maybe a little bit more.
And although my suit was $800, my dad did pitch in some money towards it, and that was definitely helpful because I'm like, at least you pay, you know, just a little bit of it, and I was able to cover the difference. Did we talk about flowers?
No. So this was the blessing. My sister-in-law is a decorator, and she decorated our wedding. And it was I mean, like, when we walked in the venue, like,
it was beautiful.
It was mind-blowing. But the thing was, you know, so it was like, although she, you know, did the decorations for us, we had to purchase everything. So, I would say flowers were about, and we got our flowers from Costco. We didn't spend anything crazy. I feel like it was maybe like $300-400 for flowers, and I really wanted like real flowers. Like, now thinking back on it, false flowers probably could have worked just as well. Then I had to pay for the centerpieces, because we had these like tall gold centerpieces, and those were about maybe, I don't know, maybe I spent maybe like $120 on those. We had a backdrop. I spent about maybe $200 on the backdrop. And then
it was an insane amount of stuff that we spent money on.
My sister-in-law brought the number cards. I'm trying to think what else. The signage. The signage wasn't that expensive. I got it from Walmart. I thought I was printing out boards. I actually printed out posters. So my sister-in-law had to end up buying like a frame to put the signage in, because I probably just was rushing and did not read everything. But yeah. But I would say for decor, we probably spent, I would say maybe about like $600 to $700 on the supplies. And my aunt, she arranged all the florals. And you know what I did? I spent a lot of money on vases because I wanted all of these flower vases. And then, you know what? We ain't even end up using half of them.
Boy, I kept looking at the marriage account just like.
But I mean, I probably have about 200 vases in my mom attic.
So if you need any, let us know and we'll sell them to you. But everything was amazing. Yeah. The price down, the check down, we came out to about.
What we missed was our photo and video. How much you paid for that?
That was
like $2,400.
Yep. And all of that pretty much came out to about $25,000, probably a little bit more, probably. After all of after everything that we have, I would say from $20,000 to $25,000. That's really where we were. And honestly, I don't want to do the math because I'm scared that it may be 30. So let's just leave it at 25. Okay. Thanks, guys.
And one thing I can say, like, I felt like because we're getting married, I'm like, our parents, they're each going to pay for something.
Right.
So, like, I really do appreciate. So, like I said, my mom, she paid for my dress and my veil. She also did our first deposit. Our first deposit was $1,000. No, she did half. She went half on us with the first deposit. Mm-hmm. And then my dad covered the photography and videography. Raymond's parents, they paid for the DJ and half of his suit costs.
Right.
And then my sister-in-law, as I brought up a lot, she contributes with our 360 booth.
Yeah.
She helped gather funds for our chairs. And she she got like miscellaneous decorations for us. So our family definitely, contributed to us. But I can say we had the cash money to pay for the wedding. So we didn't charge anything. We paid for it straight out.
No credit card.
And
no loan.
And one thing I can say, I knew I was going to get married one day, so I kind of was just saving for my wedding, even before I met Raymond.
And boy, I was on a hike. I was over here saving like a madman, paying rent, saving. It was just like, you get married, so you just got to buckle down and do what you got to do. So it's really important to especially have a marriage account where you can put funds into. You can, if you have funds somewhere else, you put it in there. You say, listen, we're running out. It's time to start pulling from what we got. So we gave it everything we had, and we had a beautiful wedding. I would definitely do it all over again. The money was well spent. although some people didn't show, and the people that didn't show, some did not send any gifts or anything. It's all good.
Most that didn't show didn't send gifts.
But some people did. And to the people who did send gifts and the people who did send some money to us, we do appreciate it. We're going to get into that next episode because I definitely want to tap into that. I feel like it's not talked about enough. And people don't realize what an honor it is to be invited to a wedding. If I'm invited to a wedding, I'm going to for sure tell you whether or not I can come. But let me not get too deep into that because we're going to save that for next episode. I'm Ray.
And this is Danny.
And we're going to see you next time. Peace.